I lost myself completely. This was me at my worst, right before I hit rock bottom. This is me now. Not there yet, but so far better than ever. Here I weighed 126 kilograms, and I felt horrible. I had a terrible food addiction. My parents' divorce process had been going on for 2 years. My relationship was going downhill. My entire life was chaotic and unstable. I was severely stressed, and my heart acted up as a result. I was insanely insecure and self-conscious. I developed social anxiety, and that caused panic attacks. I had zero energy left in me, and it got to the point where I thought, this is it. It genuinely felt like I could never feel normal again. Like, this was never gonna go away, it was only gonna get worse, and there was not a single thing that I could do about it. Or so I thought. Let's rewind for a second. This is me at 14 years old. This is the first time I started to show signs of depression. High school was killing me. Quick side note, hi, my name is Andy and I have ADHD. I did not know that back then. Now that I look back at my life, it is very obvious, but back then it wasn't. For example, when I was 4 years old, I found out about trampolines for the first time, and I ran in circles for about 4 hours straight. Hyper-focused. When I was 10 to 11 years old, I had a very specific way of playing games. I would game for half an hour, then I'd jump on the trampoline for half an hour, then I'd get bored again, then I would play games for half an hour again, get bored again, go back to the trampoline, and that's kind of how that went. But again, we never linked to ADHD. This was between 5 to 15 years ago, and to this day, so many people still don't know what ADHD actually is, so we just didn't notice. But back to high school. I always performed pretty well in school, but for me it just took all of my energy to do so. The most common signs of ADHD are hyperactivity and problems in school. However, I didn't have problems in school and I wasn't very energetic because I used all of my energy to perform well in school. With that, I also didn't have any energy for the things I actually wanted to do, like making videos.
Good morning. I'm gonna just go home.
Shut the fuck up. Why? And right around the third year of high school, my stress level started to skyrocket, and I needed to relax, and the only way I knew how to relax was through eating. So I did. When the stress got worse and worse and worse, I decided to drop out. And with worse and worse and worse, I mean, I was on the brink of a burnout. At 14 years old. That's not okay. That year I also decided to go to therapy to figure out why I simply couldn't feel joy or happiness anymore, and why I just felt so tired and empty all the time. And that's when we figured out my brain runs on a different kind of software. I've personally never taken any medication. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking medication. If it helps you, please do so, but I personally really want to rely on just my own capabilities. Unless I eventually get to a point where I realize, nope, can't do this, then maybe I'll have to start using medication, but for now, we're good. Also, another quick side note, if you struggle with anything or you've been feeling like ass lately or for a while, please try therapy. Therapy is very personal and different for everyone. Some people need guidance, some people just need someone to listen to them. That was me, for example. Please never be afraid to reach out for professional help. If you're watching this and you've never tried therapy, it's helped a lot of people better their life, so why not give it a shot? All right, back to school. When I dropped out, I stopped cycling to school, which was a lot of my daily exercise, so I started to gain weight, and I had to wait another year to go to school again. Fast forward that year, I went from 80 kilograms to 102 kilograms, and I wasn't doing too good. I was very happy to finally get off my ass again and make new friends and make new adventures with my new friends. I wasn't feeling depressed anymore, but I was still very insecure about my weight, and I was very lonely. And not lonely in the sense of friends, but lonely in the sense of love and intimacy. Because, I was 16 years old, and at that point, I had never even kissed a girl. Lucky for me, about, let's say, half a year later, I got into a relationship and I started making videos again. At that point, I was honestly feeling the best I had ever felt. However, sadly, all things good and bad come to an end. My parents were getting divorced, I was over 120 kilograms, the pandemic had started, and because of that, we couldn't be on set together anymore, so we had to make our video projects alone at home. Basically, all the fun in going to school was gone. The projects piled up, and we weren't really learning anything anymore. All of them became useless. Because of that, I started focusing more on making videos. Making videos is something that I've always loved doing, and it made me happy, and I actually learned something. I got better at making content. I was having a lot of fun and learning more than I was learning at school. However, like I said, my parents were divorcing, I had a relationship, I had so much schoolwork, and I was making daily videos, so it all got too much. All I wanted to do was focus on my dream. I wanted to make content on YouTube, and school was getting in the way of that. At that point, I got to my first real burnout. Every single time I would join class, my chest would feel tight, my hands would start to shake, and that's not a good thing when you press a button to join online class. And again, because my ultimate dream was and still is to make content for a living here on YouTube, I decided I had to quit school. Again, this was the second most difficult decision I'd ever had to make. I had to quit school again. It's not an easy decision. However, I wasn't scared because I was really focusing in on my career, and some videos started to do really well. I started to gain an audience, and I noticed that I was actually going somewhere. However, here's the problem. I never recovered from that burnout. I went straight into making videos again because I was doing good and I was having a lot of fun. But that's not how that works. This is kind of how my energy went. I would make videos for like 2 weeks, I would be completely drained and I wouldn't know why. So I took a little break for a week. Then I had enough energy to make some videos again. I was completely drained again. So I went away for 2 weeks. I had energy to make videos again. So I did. Drained myself again, recovered, made more videos, drained myself again, and it would just go on and off like that for the entire time. It was frustrating me to no end that I simply couldn't figure out why I couldn't keep a consistent schedule. I genuinely started to question if I had it in me to actually work hard. Eventually, with everything still going on, my relationship went downhill, and it got to the point where I had zero energy. I had used it all and it wasn't coming back, so I was kind of forced to stop making videos for longer than a month. But like I said, because of all that, my energy just wouldn't regenerate. Right now, we've gotten to the point which I described at the beginning of the video. This part. I had a terrible food addiction. My parents' divorce process had been going on for 2 years. My relationship was going downhill. My entire life was chaotic and unstable. I was severely stressed and my heart acted up as a result. I was insanely insecure and self-conscious. I developed social anxiety and that caused panic attacks. I had zero energy left in me, and it got to the point where I thought, this is it. It genuinely felt like I could never feel normal again. Like this was never going to go away. It was only going to get worse, and there was not a single thing that I could do about it. Or so I thought. For about 2 years, the only thing that made me feel true comfort was food and my relationship. When that started to go downhill, I never truly realized how much energy was costing me because I was trying to stay as positive as possible. And like food, my relationship became an escape from reality. While in reality, just like food, it was really only holding me back. I want to be very clear, we didn't do anything bad to each other. I realized that because the relationship became an escape for me, I started to change myself in a way that wasn't me just so I could hold on to that escape. The love was always very real, and it made me feel comfortable and safe in times when I really needed that. I never thought about us breaking up until I realized what was actually happening. When it came to life and mental health, we both weren't really on top of our game, so to speak, and that for us made it all the more difficult, and I realized we were only holding each other back. And then it happened. I hit rock bottom. Right then, I realized something had to change. And at that point, I knew it had to start with our relationship. It had to end. I was on my way over by train, and I started to panic very badly. Again, at that point, I was 126 kilograms. I was insanely self-conscious and insecure about everything, and I just felt really uncomfortable in my own body. And because of all the stress in that moment, my heart would constantly skip a beat, which made it even worse. I really tried to calm myself down, but for some reason, I literally couldn't. I was standing in a crowded train, and I was looking at the people around me, and the feeling it gave me made me realize that I had developed social anxiety. I was terribly ashamed of my own body, and I wanted to hide, but I had nowhere to go. I was in a crowded train. For the entire way there, I was in a constant state of panic and anxiety, and when I got there, I texted, "Hey, sorry I can't walk to you. I am panicking." Every single move that would require the slightest form of physical tension, like standing up or even walking, would cause my heart to act up and just skip a beat right then and there. In that moment, my stress and panic was so high that I knew I could not break up at that moment. I felt that I would not be able to handle that physically and mentally. It would have honestly done more damage than good. So we did talk about it, and we just decided to take it easier. And that worked. For a little. After a few weeks, I realized nothing had really changed. At that moment, we decided to take a break for a month and just focus on ourselves. I remember in that month, I felt like I was coming back to life again. The food addiction was no more, I lost some weight, and my heart started to calm down. By the way, if you experience anything similar with your heart, don't assume it's just stress. I knew it was just stress because the moment my stress level started to lower, my heart didn't do weird anymore. I know it can be scary to get your heart checked out, but don't just assume it's anything. Please do make an appointment, go to the doctor, and get it checked out if your heart is acting up. If then they don't find anything, consider it might be stress. Stress can do a lot of things to your body, a lot of weird things, which a lot of us don't even know that it can do that. In this case, didn't know that was a possibility, but apparently that happens to me when I get stressed very badly. But again, don't just assume it's stress. It could be, of course, but please get it checked out and be sure it isn't like an actual physical problem, because that could cost you your life. Just wanted to note that, and also my therapist said it would probably be a good idea to say that, so yeah. When the break was over, we tried again, and because of all the positive changes on both sides, it felt better than it had been in a while. However, again, it didn't last very long because about a month later, I noticed we started to fall back into the same pattern again. And because I noticed that at that point it wasn't doing either of us any good, I knew that we tried it all and it wasn't going to get better, and we had to face that. I simply didn't want to put either of us through any more of this. That night I texted that we had to talk, and I went over the next day, and she already knew what was about to happen. As difficult as it was for both of us, we were basically on the same page. We talked for a long time, and we decided that it was better for the both of us to put an end to it. It was truly the most emotional night of my life, and I had not felt this kind of terrible before. It was true heartbreak. It was like a very dear loved one passed away. Fuck. I know this is a very emotional video, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to make it, but I remember in that moment, I wished that this video would already exist by someone else, because I did not know what was happening. Like I said, it was the most emotional night of my life ever, and in that moment, I realized I needed to take an official break from honestly anything. I knew I had to focus on recovering, and the most important thing at that time for me was my heart just being normal again. Because I couldn't exercise and I couldn't lose weight because of that, so I knew that had to change, and the only way to change that was through the hardest decision of my life. This is what I mean with it felt like a very dear loved one passed away, because it's still very hard to think about, because again, we didn't do anything bad to each other. It became a compatibility issue, and we were only holding each other back. From that moment on, after a lot of time to process everything, I noticed that I was starting to feel better. And again, it didn't make it any easier. It was still very, 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 very difficult, but as hard as it was, I at the same time knew that this was the best decision that we could make at that time, and we both agreed on that in that moment as well. And again, it didn't make it any easier. Absolutely not. This is the story of how I lost myself, and I'm ending it now because there's going to be another video next week where I talk about how I found myself again. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not doing ultimately fantastic, but I know that I'm on my way there, and I found who I truly am again. As far as one can know, obviously, there's still a lot of things I don't know about myself, but I know a lot better what I do want, and especially what I don't want. So for now, thank you all so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me. I know this is a very private story, and I've tried to keep it as discreet and private as possible, but this is just something I wanted to share because, again, I know it can help a lot of people, and I truly hope it does. So if you could share this video anywhere with anyone, that would mean the world to me. Again, I don't know if this is actually going to help people, but I truly hope that it can. I will be making more gaming content very soon in the future. I'm really excited to do so, but I still have another one of these videos to make, which is a little more upbeat and a little more motivating, really. If you want to be notified when the next video comes out, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Otherwise, you're not going to get a notification. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.